It's now time for the morning show on XL7-TV.
Welcome to the morning show on XL7-TV. I'm David Stroud. This is Scooter Scott Callies.
Whoop whoop.
We thank you for joining us this morning on this cold, icy day.
We didn't make it yesterday.
If you're watching, you're probably one of the lucky ones with power.
Yeah, more than likely you're watching from your phones.
Yeah, either watch. Yeah, you could be watching from your phones.
Yeah, just shivering. There's a lot of people without power.
A lot of people.
I'm gonna say
it was probably double last night.
Yeah.
But they're slowly working on getting it back together. And
I can tell you this, NAC, who's got just in Baxter County alone, not including all the surrounding areas, I'm just talking about Baxter County, 19,400 and something, I think is what it said. And at one time, there was 15,000 of them out of power.
Yeah.
So majority of their people were out of power. And I'm one of them.
Yeah.
I am still without power.
I've got power, so very thankful for that.
Lucky.
We're lucky. Yeah. We've got power here, so as you can tell, we're not running on a Jenny. But if you do have a generator, it helps. If you don't, it's probably a good idea to go get one. Yes.
It probably wouldn't be a bad idea. At least keep the refrigerator. I mean, that's what I'm worried about losing. Refrigerator, freezer, stuff like that, because that food adds up. I got.
Yeah. Especially nowadays.
Refrigerators with the freezer on the bottoms, and then I got a full stand-up freezer that's full. And I was like, all right, we got to get that switched over.
You got to be keeping that stuff good because it's too expensive to go by now.
This is when it's tough because my house is all electric.
Yeah.
So to try to run the whole house, and it's a big house, it'd have to be a huge generator.
Oh, most definitely. Just not one you're not going to have.
No.
Well, thank you for joining us this morning. We'd like to start the show off with Roller Funeral Home with all our respect. We have 29 in the state, one in Memphis, Tennessee. We appreciate them in our time of need when we lose a loved one. And with that, let's pause now for the morning prayer. Dear Lord, please watch out over everybody that's without power this morning, everybody that's who knows in the cold from being homeless. Hopefully they found a warming shelter. There are warming shelters around. Please watch over our children as they go to school today, and our first responders as they travel these roads. Even though some seem to be clear, the side roads are still pretty bad. So just watch over everybody today after these storms that have gone through. Amen.
Amen.
Roller Funeral Home with all our respect. You can give them a call at 870-425-2161. Talk about pre-need service. It's always good to have a plan in place before something happens. That way your family's taken care of. They don't have to worry about that aspect of it. That Roller Funeral Home will take care of everything. They're professionals, and you'll be taken care of.
There you go.
There you go.
What else can you say? Well, you can't.
Okay, that's it. Caught me like that. Let's go ahead and take a break for Bob and Linda Zadora of the Z Team.
Well, folks, have you been trout fishing before?
Not since I was a little kid.
You'll do fine.
Hey, what are you doing?
Aren't you coming along?
See you downriver.
How do you start this motor? I've never been in a boat before.
See you downriver.
Well, folks, have you sold a house before?
Yeah, about 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you'll be okay then.
You sure?
Where are you going?
See you at the closing.
Hey!
At the closing.
We should have called the Z Team.
Welcome back to the morning show on XL7-TV. Do not be left behind. Bob and Linda Zadora of the Z Team will take care of you. They are professionals that have a commitment to excellence. They have so many awards for their customer service, people leaving them 5-star reviews. I mean, it's just they are the best in Baxter County, if you ask me, right?
I have to agree 100%. And their customer service proves it.
Yes, it
does. They are there to help make a difference.
Yeah, they're not just going to list and leave.
Nope.
They're going to take care of you, especially when it comes to staging. That way you get the most out of the pictures that are going to be posted. That right there tells everybody if they want to see it or not. I tell you that right now.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. It's what draws people to it.
Yeah. The curb appeal is what they said. The days of driving by and you're like, oh, that's a pretty house. Just same thing with pictures, except for they're showing you all of it. So you want to let Linda really take care of that part. Paperwork wise, I mean, that's why you hire a real estate broker, is so you don't have to worry about whether or not you got everything done, because banks have different rules and different inspections, and that's where Bob and Linda Zadora will know exactly what to do. They're a senior real estate specialist, so if you're looking to downsize your home, maybe you're looking to move off to where your family is, be back together again, they need help with the grandkids. They'll help you sell that big home and get you into something more cozy. If you are moving out of town, they'll find you a realtor that will take care of you.
Yep. They got a big blanket they cover, and they've got a lot of networks, and they can make sure you're taken care of here and then taken care of wherever you're going.
That's right. Well, let's see the White River. I've been waiting to see the beautiful snow. Yes.
That is pretty.
That is pretty. And I think I see a truck down there. That is Collier, Arkansas, there in Marion County, looking into Baxter County. And off to the right in the distance is us, Mountain Home. In the center is about the center is Missouri, and off to the left is Bull Shoals. That is beautiful Collier, Arkansas, on the Horseshoe Bend of the White River. And our favorite fisherman,
hey, it looks like he's there.
It looks like he's there.
I'm not zoomed on it, so I can't switch on the zoom camera.
But it'll come around to that camera most likely, hopefully, and we'll see that our favorite fisherman, whether it's snow, rain, wind,
I didn't look
hail.
yesterday.
You didn't look. I didn't look yesterday.
I wished I would have. I just didn't think about it.
Me neither. I was. Yep.
There
That's him. He's wow. Which really right now with no wind, I know it's like what 30 something.
Yeah, it wouldn't be so bad
with no wind. Yeah, it's really not that bad. And look at that beautiful view of the Rainbow Bridge. You can go to retiredarkansas.net and find these camera views 24 hours a day.
So pretty and crisp this morning.
Isn't it?
Everything, the camera colors, everything is just picking it all up.
Yeah, and they're generating 6, so the water is flowing pretty good right now. And it's just an amazing view. If you would like to have a view like this, give Bob and Linda Zadora a call at 870-405-0793. They are licensed in Arkansas and Missouri. So if you find something just across the border, they can help you with that also.
We're very grateful for Bob and Linda for sharing these videos and
most
these
definitely.
cameras. This is really cool.
This is really cool. I'm kind of surprised though that how much did melt yesterday.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a full blanket anymore. You can see that. Warmer spots than other, thicker spots than other, but yeah, it's a beautiful view. Absolutely love living in this area. Thank you, Bob and Linda Zadora of the Z Team, for these camera views. Go to retiredarkansas.net where you can find their listings, the MLS listings. Anything you want to know about the Ozarks, why to move here, why to retire here, why to just visit here. They've got videos on there, all kinds of information. It's very user-friendly. It was just redone 6 months ago, but it's very user-friendly, very easy to navigate, so take a look at that. It's very cool. All right, let's take a look at the weather, brought to you by Bob and Linda Zadora of the Z Team. Mountain Home, Arkansas is at 30, Harrison at 25, Batesville at 32, Yellville at 30, Marshall at 32, Salem at 27, Mountain View at 32, Calico Rock at 30, West Plains at 27, Springfield, Missouri at 21, Poplar Bluff at 33, and St. Louis at 30.
21 gets it.
21 in Springfield gets it. They are the coldest. National Weather Radar shows pretty clear across the country. You've got some heavy activity and, of course, the Great Lakes area, Michigan, and the northern part of Ohio, if I could think. I get on this state. I know the states. I just, I'm tired. So, in our neck of the woods, we're looking pretty clear across the day. I did put up this here. Let's do this hourly real quick. Sunny today. Sunny, starting at 8 a.m. And it looks, about 52. So it's going to be really nice. We'll go ahead and click this back here. But yeah, National Weather Radar looks pretty clear today. Please hold. Please hold. There we go. No watches or warnings across the states. Missouri and Arkansas are in the clear. And this is what we got. So it looks like the winner was Logan County. Mount Magazine had 16 inches of snow. 14.5 inches southeast of Kay at Searcy County, 13 inches southeast of Jasper in Newton County, and Whit Springs in Searcy County.
Does that say we got 10 to 14?
Yes. And parts of our Baxter County, 10 to 14 or 6 to 10. I'm pretty sure my backyard got 8. What about you?
Yeah, that looks about right.
Yeah.
That seems about right.
I would say about 8. But 16 inches, somebody got foot and 4, so that's pretty good.
Woo.
Yeah. Today, becoming sunny, high of 36. Tonight, partly cloudy, low of 26. Friday, sunny and breezy, high of 51. Friday night, clear, low of 33. Saturday, partly sunny and breezy, high of 50. Saturday night, chance of showers at 30%, low of 40. Sunday, cloudy, high of 45. Sunday night, cloudy, low of 30. Monday, mostly cloudy, high of 40. So it looks like our weekend's going to just be a little touch of rain, but otherwise cloudy. Saturday, we'll have the better part of the day will be sunny, a little breezy. Oh, showed the hourly already. Oh, don't need that one no more. Norfolk Lake water level.
Decide where you're going here.
553.48. Level is 1.48 feet above full pool. They're generating both. 2 are open bowl shoals. Like I said, they're generating 6, and their water level is 657.13. Level is 1.87 feet above full pool. And yeah, they've got them both open. I would say the snow is a contributing factor to that, wouldn't you?
I would suggest that.
I would suggest that. That is a look at your weather, brought to you by Bob and Linda Zadora of the Z Team. Give them a call, 870-405-0793. Go to retiredarkansas.net and find all their listings, find information about the Ozarks, the reason why we're here, God's country. It's beautiful. It's quality of life is second to none. With that, we'll take a break, and we'll come back with some community news.
It's a matter of taste, and at Brick Oven Pizza Company in Mountain Home, delicious taste is all you will find. Enjoy signature crafted pizzas and appetizers, as well as oven-baked sandwiches, quesadillas, salads, pastas, and desserts. When it comes time to relax or meet up with friends, Brick Oven Pizza has you covered. Handmade cocktails and ice-cold beer are always available at their fully stocked bar. No time to dine in? No problem. Call in your order and use Brick Oven's convenient drive-thru window for all your to-go orders. It's a matter of taste at Brick Oven Pizza Company in Mountain Home.
Closing and cancellations. Welcome back to the morning show on XL7-TV. There's a lot of them. There's probably just too many of them. There'll be quite a few businesses are delayed going into work and staff 9 a.m. Mountain Home State University is closed today. Ava Public School closed. Bakersfield's closed. Our schools will be open. They're doing snow routes. And partly because they, a lot of people are without power and they want to have a warming station and also a place to take a shower. So they've been asked to bring extra towels if they have them. Then those that can't make it in, don't make it in. If you think it's too dangerous on your road, I'm sure there's still some side roads. You know how they get shaded and nothing melts off.
Getting out of my road is an act of Congress. I mean, you will need four-wheel drive and still slide.
Right. So a better safe than sorry just to stay home. Even though the school is open, it doesn't mean go at the risk of safety, right?
There you go.
So they'll be open today, but if you can make it there and you need a shower, warm meal, it'll be good. Let's see. Baxter Day Service business is open. Boone County government buildings are delayed. Bolshol's Food Pantry is closed. Kabul Schools, Calico Rock School, Cotter School, Dora, Flippin, Gainesville, Guyberry College and the Career Academies, Harrison Public Schools, those are all closed. A lot of postponement to games. They won't be having any games. If there's anything scheduled today, they're all postponed or rescheduled to a later date. So let's see. Yeah, Marion County Court, that's canceled. There's I could go on. I would be here for a long time. There's a lot of them. It's just a big full page of them. Help us travel to French-speaking Quebec, Canada. Mountain Home High School French Club will have a chili supper to raise funds for a summer 2024 trip to Quebec. That'll be Friday, February 3rd, from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m., located at the Century 21 Lemac Realty office at 1024 Highway 62 East. It's $5 for a bowl of chili and a to-go container, condiments, and a dessert. You can order by contacting Christy Lawrence at clawrence@mhbombers.com or purchasing a ticket from a French Club student. Please make checks payable to MHHS French Club. Mountain Home High School Career Academies, empty bowls to feed the hungry soup dinner. That'll be Thursday, February 23rd, 4 to 6 p.m. at the Mountain Home High School cafeteria. All proceeds donated to the Food Bank of North Central Arkansas. $10 per ticket. Purchase includes choice of soup. First 150 attendees will be able to choose a handmade ceramic bowl to keep, non-refundable if the event is canceled due to inclement weather. Purchases can be made from individual students or contact Beth Ivans at bivans@mhbombers.com or Christy Lawrence at clawrence@mhbombers.com.
Got it all down, Pat.
That is community news for today. Be safe if you're going to work. The roads are, the main roads that
the main roads are good.
Yeah, we're good. I think you're going to be fine. So just, drive a little slower in case there's black ice somewhere, because there always could be, especially the shaded areas of a road that doesn't get a lot of sunlight. Anyway, let's go ahead and take a break. We're going to come back with
Arkansas Game and Fish.
Arkansas Game and Fish, Calvin Wakefield.
Be right back.
Have you ever noticed every time you wash your car, you end up wetter than the actual car? Next time, run down to Car Care and let the friendly staff put a smile on your face. Car Care of Mountain Home has a variety of services to clean your vehicle's needs, inside and out. From a simple wash and shine to their outstanding detail services. Located 1525 Highway 62 East in Mountain Home. Stop by Car Care Mountain Home today, because driving a clean car always makes you feel good.
At Connor Family Funeral Home, our goal is to provide our friends and neighbors with caring, compassionate services at an affordable price. Connor Family is a full-service funeral home that offers a wide range of services to meet your family's needs and customs. We are the first on-site crematory in the area and provide many options to memorialize your loved ones and address all the details for a more personalized service. Where compassion and affordability meet, Connor Family Funeral Home in Mountain Home.
When you think about Hospice of the Ozarks, it's our desire that you think about finding a way to live your life to the fullest while living with a serious illness. If you ever need help and support, we provide a team of healthcare professionals and volunteers that will support your physical, emotional, and spiritual aspects of life while doing the same for your family and caregivers in the comfort of your own home or wherever you call home. When you think about Hospice of the Ozarks, we hope that you grant us permission to walk on the journey with you. Your not-for-profit option since 1979.
When you're out of town, make sure your pet is with someone who will love them as much as you do. At 201 Pet Salon and Resort, your pet is cared for just as they would be at home. 201 Pet Salon and Resort is the only all-suite climate-controlled and air-filtered boarding facility in the area with private and spacious rooms to keep your pet relaxed. And with over 3/4 of an acre of fenced play area, your pet will receive the proper exercise they deserve. 201 also offers professional grooming services. Your best friend is in good hands at 201 Pet Salon and Resort in Mountain Home.
Are you looking for the best barbecue in 2 states?
Holy smokes!
Want the meatiest fall-off-the-bone ribs?
Holy smokes!
The most tender and delicious pulled pork?
Holy smokes!
The tastiest brisket in the Ozarks?
Holy smokes!
Holy Smokes Barbecue and Catering is the only place you need to go. Dine in, carry out, and the best food for your next catered event.
Holy smokes!
We're your mountain home for great barbecue cooking.
Holy smokes!
A higher calling for your taste buds.
Welcome back to the morning show on XL7-TV. Our guest today is Calvin Wakefield. He is private lands biologist for the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission. Good morning, and how are you?
Good morning. Pretty good. How are y'all?
Doing very good. We made it in to work when we probably could have stayed home. But no, it wasn't too bad. How was your drive in?
I mean, it was short. Everything was really nice, open and clear, so I'm just coming across from Gassville. Pretty easy.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So I was looking you up here, and you are a part of the North Central Division.
Yes, sir.
And that covers quite a few counties.
Yeah, we cover Baxter, Marion, Searcy, Izzard, Stone, and Fulton.
Yeah. So that's quite the area. But is your office based in Calico Rock?
Yeah, we're based in Calico Rock, but I mean, we're all over that area. They say it's an office, but I spend 90% of the time out in the field with different landowners all over, so.
Yeah. Well, tell us about yourself, a little bit of personal history, where you come from, how long you've been here, how long you've been with Arkansas Game and Fish, just give us all the deets.
All right, yeah, so I was born and raised east of Hollister, Missouri, so just a little ways from here. When I graduated high school, I moved to St. Joe, Missouri, went to undergrad. From there, I pretty much decided I was going to go somewhere warm. That minus 30 wind chill said I was going south. And I headed down to Georgia, and I did my grad school down there, got a master's from UGA, and worked down there for a few years, and eventually just decided I wanted to come back to the Ozarks. And what's really funny is when me and my girlfriend were driving back to see my parents one time, we're driving across that White River Bridge there going into Cotter, and I looked and I said, well, I'd love to live here at some point.
How about that?
And about 3 months later, I'm interviewing for this job, and now we live about 2 miles from there. So
that is awesome. You can't get a better story than that, than to cross that bridge that we bring that view up every day. And say, I'd like to live here.
It's one of my favorite places just to go and look around and hang out in. Just a neat place. But been here since about 2020. So
you came right at the pandemic. Isn't that something?
Yeah. That was an interesting change to make. Everything shut down, trying to drive back across here, and not fun.
Most definitely. So you were a private lands biologist, and I mean, it seems like you do a lot. So give us the rundown on what a private lands biologist does.
So pretty much anything related to wildlife or habitat on private lands is, that's the general overarching way to put it. We have 3 main focuses in our division, and it's going to be prescribed fire, deer management assistant program, or DMAP, and wetlands. Obviously, we don't have a lot of wetlands up here.
Yeah.
That's more of an east and south Arkansas thing. So a big bulk of what I focus on is deer management assistant program and fire.
Okay.
But that's not to say, I do anything and everything. I personally have a deep passion for turkeys, so if it's turkey related, I do a lot of work on that. We also do a lot of work on quail and pollinators, songbirds. Just pretty much runs the gamut. Anything that's wildlife or habitat.
Okay. Specialized biologists can provide a written wildlife management plan with current aerial photos identifying where wildlife practices are recommended for installation. So you actually can change what's going on in an area by coming up with a management plan on how to what?
So a lot of it looks at what's there now and what the landowner's goal is. So, I work with someone, they say, we don't see any turkeys here. We used to see a lot of them. We want to see more of them. So the first thing we're going to do is go look at what's there now. Why do they not have them? Mm-hmm. And a lot of that looks at the timber quality, how the open areas are managed, especially if they're running cattle, what kind of livestock operation they're running, what the grasses in their pasture are, and how can we make that work with wildlife. There's not a land use practice that people do here to make money that is not conducive to work with wildlife if people are willing to compromise and make slight changes.
What are some of the compromises they would have to make if they have, say, a field full of cows and they want to have turkey?
Yeah, usually it's let's not fully stock the field. Let's leave a little bit of growth in the field. Let's try to focus on some species that are going to be beneficial to your cattle and also beneficial to your wildlife. Let's throw in some rotational grazing. We know from the livestock side that's awesome for your pasture management and your pasture quality, but we know from the wildlife side doing rotational grazing and letting some of that grass actually grow up so that there's something standing in the field has a huge benefit to wildlife as well. So
turkeys, they're not so much going to go out into an empty field.
If there's nothing in there, they ain't going to use it.
Yeah.
They need cover, they need forage. And if it's grazed down to nothing, they have nothing in them. A lot of times we're trying to take things out of Bermuda and fescue, put it into native grass, which is actually better for your cattle. You have higher cattle weights off of it, and use things along those lines of putting winter wheat and rye instead of fescue in the winter. So just trying to get forages in there that your cattle can use and wildlife can use.
Very good. So what are the things when it comes to deer? If somebody wants more deer to be passing through their yard, I guess, or if they want it changed, what's been going on with deer?
So deer are a fun one because there's a lot of places in the state where the population's well above the carrying capacity. So we try to do a lot of herd management, get people to manage them to an appropriate density. Historically, they had natural predators on the landscape, mountain lions, red wolves, to name two, that aren't here anymore. So we have to fill the void that's left by not having them. So we try to have a harvest that would bring the density down to an appropriate level for the carrying capacity of the landscape. And then with that, we try to pair it with management activities that improve the carrying capacity and improve the quality of the landscape. So to manage habitat for deer, you break it down to 4 simple things: space, cover, food, and water. And really on that, we can match 2 of those: cover and food. Water's there. I mean, you know, there's not much you can do on it. And space, you know, space is relative. So we can't do a lot for it. So we're trying to get more forage on the landscape and more cover on the landscape for deer. And that holds true with all species. Whenever we're talking habitat, those are the 4 components we're talking about. And whenever we get into whichever species we're talking about is what dictates what those components are going to look like. So with deer, we're usually doing things that that we call WSI, or Wildlife Stand Improvement. A lot of people know it as TSI, Timber Stand Improvement, on a forested area to try to get sunlight to the ground, restore fire to that timber stand, and get some herbaceous vegetation coming up in the understory. And then we do a lot of open area management where, you know, similar stuff in pastures, just slightly different species.
Yeah. So deer follow the same path, don't they? They go pretty much in a circle. Is that how?
There's been a lot of research on that, and what they've really came to the conclusion on with deer specifically is there's a huge amount of individuality in them. So one deer may take a circle every day, do the same loop, or maybe a week that it takes them to do that loop. While another deer may just bounce all over, and while another one has a pattern that he spends this month doing this pattern, and 2 months later he's on a completely different pattern somewhere else.
Yeah. So I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's a lot of individuality on them, and that's why when you hear someone say they're trying to pattern a deer, they're trying to key in on what that individuality is on that deer, for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Usually hunting, but
they've been and sorry, I forget. There's been a disease in the deer.
Yeah, so there's actually a couple different diseases that we deal with. One of them is epizootic hemorrhagic disease, or EHD. Some people call it blue tongue. Very closely related. It's a natural disease in deer caused by a biting midgefly. Well, not caused by, but transmitted by a biting midgefly.
A biting midgefly.
Yeah, so if you've ever seen like a mud flat in the middle of summer, and you got all those little things flying around, those are midgeflies.
Okay.
But it basically, they bite them, they contract the disease, and it causes internal hemorrhaging and a really intense fever. There's multiple strains of it. Some are more fatal than others. Some are more, I guess, less severe and deer can recover from. Southern deer tend to be hit less by it because they've been exposed to it for prolonged periods. Northern deer tend to be more susceptible for it. Whenever you hear a breakout of EHD that just devastates a deer herd, it's almost always up north.
Yeah.
Not to say it can't happen in the South, but it's just, you know, these deer in the South have lived with it a lot longer. They're more adapted to it. Basically, it's just a severe fever and internal bleeding.
Yeah, and they've been asking all the hunters or even hikers, if they find a deer like that, to report it.
Well, that's the ones they're more interested in for the reporting sake is the ones that get a disease called CWD.
Okay.
That's the bad one, chronic wasting disease.
Okay.
That's one that's newer, and research is really ongoing and being conducted. We actually have a pretty big research project in Arkansas on it going on right now, which is kind of cool. They partnered with my alma mater,
did they?
UGA, to do the research project.
It's a small world.
Yeah, well, wildlife world is incredibly small. You know, most biologists, they're one phone call away from about any state in the country knowing someone on a personal level. On it, but that one, CWD, it started in the late 60s, early 70s in a research facility in Colorado, and it's just slowly spread to where I'm not even going to quote a state number because it grows every year.
Yeah.
Most recently, it hit Alabama. So it's started out west and it's pushing east. It's in multiple countries, and it's in Canada, Norway, I believe Korea has it, and it's just a disease that hits cervids. So the deer family, which was cervids, always the deer family.
Yeah.
But it causes basically, this isn't going to be the greatest analogy, but similar to like Alzheimer's or dementia in people, where it just causes a slow breakdown of the brain. It's a TSE, which I'm not going to get into it because it's about a word that's 15 letters long. I don't do words more than 10.
Right.
But, it basically causes the brain to spongify and break down.
Yeah.
So they waste away, essentially, and they have really bad issues. And it's caused by a misfolded prion or misfolded protein that basically doesn't work correctly in the brain. That prion can be shed through saliva, fecal matter, brain tissue. They shed it into the environment. Other deer can pick it up and transmit it,
and that's probably where
die from it.
And the last time, it's been a few months, but they were showing a map of areas, and I think it was more north central or towards the west part of the state.
Yeah,
I can't remember where the map.
It's heavier there, but we have some not far from here.
Not far from here, but then they had one that was close to Paragould. So you think maybe one of them, they were wondering how it got there. If it's a breakdown of the brain, maybe it just wandered and just kept wandering in that direction.
Yeah, so we found it recently over there, and we've recently found it in South Arkansas in Union County. But there's multiple different ways that it can spread like that. One thought process, especially early on when they were just working on the disease, was a lot of it was transported by people. So taking a deer from an area and introducing foreign material into a new area that was contaminated, whether it be the bones or the brain matter, which is why the regulations on Arkansas are very clear about if you're in this zone that may have CWD or has CWD, you cannot move the bone matter or the brain matter. They have a list of things that you can move outside of that zone. It's the low-risk parts of the animal that have the lowest concentration of the prion if that animal was infected.
Yeah.
They wander, they can, just pick it up, and whenever their brain starts to break down, we know they do erratic and weird things. A lot of times they might just stand in one spot and salivate with the head down, droop down until they keel over. Might walk in circles, might, just wander essentially.
Yeah.
Because they have they're not having coherent thought anymore, so there's no rhyme or reason to what they're doing. Yeah. Most of the thing with an animal, you can kind of predict what it's doing. If you see a deer, you go out there and yell at it, it's going to run.
It's going to run, yeah.
If
it doesn't run,
then you got concerns.
Yeah.
So
if it's not scared of you, the thing probably has the CWD, and it's something that.
Or it's young, or it's during the breeding season.
Yeah.
Those other things that can cause it to lose its spirit human. So I'm including people trying to domesticate fawns, which is illegal, highly advised against, very dangerous.
Yeah.
So there's other things that can play into that, but that's one thing where they just don't act normal.
Okay.
Are they still recommended you not to have the feeders where it causes them to all group up together?
Yeah,
I know that
absolutely.
was a thing that they were saying a little while back is, don't be just putting piles of feed out and stuff like that, because that brings all the deer together, so now they're sharing all that.
And that could pass it easier.
Yeah, which that actually has a lot of different reasons not to do that. The first one, if a deer has CWD, it's putting that saliva, it's shedding those prions directly onto that, and then another deer is picking it up and consuming it. So it's a lot more likely whenever you have communal feeding or communal really anything, well, every deer is piled into a really tight spot for a prolonged period to where you can spread that disease from deer to deer super quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And that disease, there's no cure for it, there's no way to get rid of it. Once the deer has it, it's going to die.
Yeah.
It may be several months, it may be a year, but it's going to die. CWD is 100% fatal. So those other reasons, though, you don't want to do that, where you just pile, let's say corn, use what most people are going to use for it as an example.
Yeah.
When it gets piled in the ground, it can actually absorb some moisture off the ground, and you have a thing that can develop called aflatoxin, which is a mold that grows on it that can be incredibly fatal to wildlife. it hits bird populations a lot harder than it does mammals. So you can actually see a lot of birds die from aflatoxin poisoning at pretty low rates.
Alpha? Or
A is one of these other ones. Aflatoxin. Yeah.
Aflatoxin.
Yeah, but it's one. It's
so
that's why if you're going to feed,
don't put corn directly on the ground. Don't have big feeders. Yeah.
Spread it out as best you can.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where there's a lot of bad things that go with it. There's also good things that come. So. Yeah, it's an individual call, but we recommend if you're going to do it where it's legal, you do it the correct way.
Yeah. At 7:35, we're going to go ahead and take a break. We'll come back with more from Calvin Wakefield, a private lands biologist with the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission.
Jim Brown Company keeps you cool when it's hot and warm when it's not. A trusted name in the mountain home community, Jim Brown Company provides timely heating and cooling installation and repairs. Our certified technicians incorporate new technology on every job to provide you with the most advanced services. At our metal fabrication shop, we handle projects big and small. We've created everything from commercial ducts to custom designs.
I'd recommend Jim Brown Company to my friends and neighbors. The reason being they have high-tech equipment. Their service techs are well qualified for the job that they do, and they also send me a report after all the work is done so I know exactly what my unit's doing.
By visiting our showroom, you can learn all about our heating and cooling products. We'll educate you on your options and help you decide on the right solution. For total comfort at your home or business, choose Jim Brown Company. Quality service with a family name since 1964.
Diatley Dental Care is a family-owned dental practice. Doctors Irvin and Christina Diatley grew up in the Twin Lakes area and are proud to serve the community. With modern treatment methods and state-of-the-art technology, they are dedicated to providing exemplary care to patients of all ages. Our compassionate team consistently receives training above and beyond the standard of care.
We're changing the way you see dentistry.
Come be a part of our dental family.
Overhead Door, a garage door company that has been with your family from the beginning, through all the ups and downs of life. From the small repairs to making your vision a reality. Overhead Door, your trusted garage door expert since 1921. Be sure you're getting the genuine, the original overhead door service.
Call Overhead Door Company of North Arkansas today in Mountain Home. Scrap Daddy's Metals is a full-service scrap recycling center accepting your scrap metals for recycling, paying you top dollar for all of your recyclable metals. They even buy cars and catalytic converters. Give them a call today at 870-424-6120 or visit them at 2821 Highway 5 North in Mountain Home.
Welcome back to the morning show on XL7-TV. We're visiting with Calvin Wakefield, private lands biologist with the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission. And so we found the map. We'll have Scooter bring it up here in just a second. And it shows the Randolph County that has a couple that's outside of, I guess, the marked locations that they found them. And then down here, it looks near Ashley and Union Canyon, or Canyon County. In southern Arkansas, so you see it's quite the jump, you know.
Yeah.
But like you had said, there's no telling whether or not it was somebody that killed a deer, brought it in, and then discarded the waste out in the woods, and a deer got a hold of it. So no way of really knowing. But it is quite the distance, especially down in South Arkansas, to have a couple of cases down there.
Yeah, when
so
you
far.
consider what that. If it was naturally traveling, what a deer would have to have went through to get down there, across the across the Arkansas River and several major interstates, you know, it's likely that one probably got there via a pickup truck.
Yeah, most definitely. And there was probably one that was shot out of season.
Actually, that one was shot on don't quote me, but I believe a refuge hunt where they're trying to manage deer density on a piece of public land.
Yeah.
And they make every deer that come through get tested for good reason, and this verifies why that is a good reason.
Yeah, exactly.
They wouldn't have known that the disease was down there yet.
Mm-hmm.
During the hunting season, I take mine in and get tested on mine. I go ahead and take the head in and get it tested.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we test deer for people. It's a free service we offer. Those coolers located in every county. The closest one here is at the Mountain Homes Fisheries office just across town. Those we got them in Bull Shoals, Yellville, Summit. We tried to have them really well distributed across the entire state. Every county has them so that people can drop their head off. Just cut the head off with about 6 inches of neck on it, and we'll
take the horns off.
What?
Take the horns off.
Yeah, please take the horns off. Even if you don't want the antlers, it makes it very difficult to keep everything in the freezer because they take up a ton of space. But we'll come pick it up. There's instructions on each freezer, but you put it in a bag, you fill a little bit of information, and we come pick them up and cut the referential lymph nodes out of the deer, and we send them to a lab to see if the prion's detected or not.
It's a pretty simple process. Like you said, just got bags in there, you put the head in, you fill out the paperwork, and then you can go online and see what your test results are. So it's really simple.
Very nice. So you were talking about wildlife management, and a part of that is burn season.
Yep.
And so tell us what goes on during that season, the do's and don'ts.
Coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah, the main burn window.
Maybe not
where,
right now, but
what?
I said maybe not right now with the snow, but
yeah, the main window where most prescribed fire occurs across the state is really going to be mid to late January through March and early April. There's not a species of wildlife in this part of the state that someone's going to want to manage for that's not going to benefit from prescribed fire at an appropriate scale. We live in what historically was a fire-driven ecosystem. It doesn't take much looking into this area to figure out that it was historically a grassland with mixed woodland savanna areas. That's why we have a place in town called Raps Barren Brewery there, because historically Mountain Home was named Raps Barren before it turned into Mountain Home. And that's really a shout out to what this area was, because barren is essentially a rock-studded grassland. So it was named that. I don't think a couple hundred years ago they were naming things ironically.
No.
They were going to name it literally.
Yeah, I think it was literal.
Yeah, so this area historically was a grassland, which means it was fire-driven. And when we took fire off the landscape, that's when we started getting these forests developing. Sure. Fire keeps tree development at a minimal so that it doesn't overtake an area. So we try to restore fire. Historically, this area saw a lot of fire in the late summer, early fall. We have shifted that to burning mostly in March because we have really safe conditions to burn then.
Yeah.
And it's a lot easier for us to burn during that time of year. And with how much things have gone to closed canopy hardwood stands, fire doesn't carry that good during the summer in a forested area. So you have to do some TSI to be able to get fire back in the appropriate time window. But with that being said, we're getting into it. You're going to start seeing a lot of smoke in the air. Most of that is trying to create better wildlife habitat, increase the wildlife value of an area. There might be some that's not that reason, but most of it's going to be related to that.
How large of an area do you do at a time? So
that really comes down to the objective of what we're trying to do. There's multiple objectives. Some of them are just fuel reduction burns, so wildfire risk reduction, trying to get more of that fuel off the landscape. Those ones will get pretty large. When we're doing it for the benefit of wildlife, it comes down to a species specific thing. But in general, we try to shoot around that 50 acres in a block, because that's where we see the most benefit to the time put in.
Yeah.
If you want to get real technical on it, the smaller scale you burn at and the more of a patch mosaic you create of burned and unburned across the landscape, the more benefit you're going to have for wildlife. But it's not practical to burn out of, half an acre here and not here, and just patching it together.
Yeah.
So about at 50 acres where you see the most benefit to the time required. We'll also burn larger blocks where we try to make irregular boundaries and make them irregularly shaped so that we can spread that burn out over a bigger area and get more burned and not have to do as many of them in a location, so, you know, such as on our WMAs where we have less time to do it. We have a lot of other activities that we have to do on each area, so we can rotate around a little more by, instead of burning, you know, think of like a grid of 4 squares. We might have this 50 with this one unit with the next 50 to the lower side of it so that we can get more burn more efficiently.
Yeah. Now, when you say the fuel, that you're talking like underbrush, old logs, leaves.
So whatever's going to burn that day is going to be our fuel. So it's broken up into multiple categories, but pretty much just think leaf litter, pine needles, grass, the underbrush, any debris on the ground.
Yeah, and managing that is a big deal. I think that's a problem maybe they've had in the state of California, is not managing that. So a lightning strike causes a huge forest fire, goes into a residential area and burns everything down.
Yep.
You got to manage your underbrush.
Yeah, and we know that from, I mean, the data is very clear. The studies they've done are very clear. If you don't have prescribed fire in an area that was fire driven, you will eventually have fire in it.
Yeah.
It's not going to be your decision at some point.
Yeah, it's inevitable.
You know, they saw it in 2016 in Tennessee, Gatlinburg area, whenever they had those big wildfires out east. They have big wildfires out west every year. They have them through the Midwest. If you're in an area that historically sees frequent fire, it's going to see fire.
Yeah.
You have the opportunity now to do it on your own with the resources to time it when you want to do it and do it correctly and safely, versus just kicking the can down the road. It will eventually catch fire.
Yeah.
So
rather you want to have control of it or try to get control of it.
Exactly.
So how many people does it take to do a controlled burn of a 50-acre size? Is it?
That's a great question, and that comes down to those individual people. If you
and how they control it,
yeah. You know, if we take 2 people off the street that have never done it before, it's probably going to take a lot of them.
Yeah.
If you take 2 people, you know, 2 of your game and fish biologists that are really well versed in it, you might be able to do it with 2 or 3, 4. You know, and some of it's going to depend on the terrain and the fuel loads and what you're working with. So the more training some people have, the fewer of them you need. And a lot of people think of a burn, they need, you know, 50 to 100 people, and that's just not the case.
Yeah.
They see videos of these wildfire crews out west where you got essentially a little town to work on one fire, and it's not realistic for whenever you're doing a controlled burn because you are using conditions and weather parameters that are safe. And really, shameless plug here, we do a lot of classes here in Mountain Home area. Most of them are actually up there in Midway because they have a nice facility up there where we can teach out of about prescribed fire. It's called a Learn to Burn series. And we teach those classes multiple times throughout the year. We keep our events page on the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission website pretty up to date on it. We have a Facebook page called, I believe they just changed the name on it, but it's Arkansas Private Lands Habitat Division Facebook group where we put all of our workshops coming up. And we teach a bunch of those classes where even if you're not ever going to light a match yourself and put fire on the ground, it's a great class to come to because it teaches why fire is important and why we burn and what makes it safe versus wildfire conditions.
Yeah, and it definitely is needed in areas that get a lot of undergrowth because, like I said, it'll either be under your control or out of your control.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's why they do it. It's almost, 7:40, almost 7:49. Let's go ahead and take a break, and we'll come back with more with Calvin Wakefield.
At Letty's Mexican Restaurant, we are here to keep you safe during these difficult times, as well as serve you the best Mexican food in the area. That's why we've installed a convenient pickup window for all your to-go and pickup orders, as well as a covered outdoor seating area. Give us a call at 870-435-2532 to order your next meal. And don't forget, Letty's also provides catering for small parties or big events. Experience the best in Mexican cuisine. Letty's in Gassville. Close to Lake Norfolk and a short journey to Jordan County Line Liquor is your destination for all your refreshment needs. They offer the widest variety of all your wines, beers, and liquors with the cleanest atmosphere and the largest selection in the area. Not sure what to get? Ask Jordan County Line Liquor's friendly and knowledgeable staff for an expert recommendation you can't go wrong with. Also, don't forget about the Smoker's Den for all your smoking and accessory needs. That's Jordan County Line Liquor, close to Lake Norfolk, located on Highway 177 in Jordan, Arkansas.
Well, folks, have you been trout fishing before?
Not since I was a little kid.
You'll do fine.
Hey, what are you doing?
Aren't you coming along?
See you downriver.
How do you start this motor? I've never been in a boat before.
See you downriver.
Well, folks, have you sold a house before?
Yeah, about 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you'll be okay then.
You sure?
Where are you going?
See you at the closing.
Hey!
At the closing.
We should have called the Z-Team.
It's a matter
Welcome back to the morning show on XL7-TV. Our guest, Calvin Wakefield, is a private lands biologist with the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission. We've been talking about the do's and don'ts of prescribed burn, but they do a lot of it to manage the undergrowth of our beautiful forest and to make sure that we don't have a fire that goes out of control. We control it to keep it from going out of control. You talked about you have learn to burn classes in Midway for the public, but also Prescribed Burn Association.
Yeah, so Prescribed Burn Association is something that, it's not a new concept, but it is newer to Arkansas. They have them across Midwest and through a lot of the Southeast, but it's a group of landowners helping other landowners burn. Here in North Arkansas, we actually have three of them now. We have one that covers Boone, Baxter, and Marion County, one that covers Izard, Fulton, and Sharp County, and a new one that just started about 2 months ago that covers Searcy, Van Buren, and Stone County.
Okay.
So we got this whole area covered pretty well, but these are just landowners that have an interest in burning, that help each other do burns on their own property. We work with them very closely. We kind of advise them, help them get going.
Yeah.
You know, if they're trying to do a burn, we'll step in and be like, hey, by the way, today's not a good day. Or, you know, hey, this week we probably going to have several good burn days. And we teach them some classes. We just try to help them get more fire on the ground in a safe manner. These associations have what they call a PBA trailer, and it's a trailer full of equipment that they let members rent out. It's got basically everything you need to do a normal burn in it.
Yeah.
And it's a great way to get people working together, get a greater sense of community, and get more fire on the landscape at the same time. Because there's people in these associations that are burning to make better forage for the cattle. There's people that are burning for fuel reduction for safety reasons. There's people that are burning for wildlife reasons. That's where we like to focus, is on that wildlife reasons, obviously.
Yeah.
But there's people in there doing multiple different reasons. And all of them kind of will interact with each other.
They will.
So,
yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're just one thing that they're newer and they're really worth looking into. If you are interested in burning, they really help get you on your feet and get you going. And they do have some requirements. They're their own association. Most of them have a yearly dues, which they're usually like $25 a year.
It's not bad.
No. When you start looking at the price of contract burners, you start realizing that's a pretty cheap price.
Yeah.
But they're usually pretty cheap. They require you to go through some base training, which are free trainings, just takes you some time. And they require you to help with another member's burn so that you have some base level experience and you've given back to the members of the association before they come out and help you.
Very good. Now, Arkansas Game and Fish has those associations on their website.
Yeah, if you actually go to the private lands page on AGFC, the bottom section should say Prescribed Burn Associations.
Let's see, Prescribed right here.
And
so you can click this one here, Prescribed Burn Association. Yeah, there we go.
Yep.
Everywhere you want to go, all the emails to contact them. Go to agfc.com. And if you can't ever find anything, they have a search bar up here at the top. You can just type it in, and it's going to give you the link on there, and you'll be able to go to it. So
Dude, that search bar is my best friend.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier.
Because
You guys got
there's
so much stuff on that site.
I mean, look at this. When you drop down a window, it can drop down a window. I mean, there is a lot.
Yeah, when you start looking at what we do as an agency, it gets pretty daunting because
Yeah.
we have multiple divisions that cover different things. We got wildlife, we got fisheries, we got what we call habitat biologists. I mean, we cover this huge range of areas, not even to mention law enforcement side of it.
Yeah.
So there's a lot.
Yeah.
There's an absolute lot.
That's why there's 572 links on here to go to.
That's an understatement, too.
Yeah, there's probably a lot more. So I was reading on here these the programs for private lands biologists. There's an offer, incentive, or easement payments, co-share payments, and other financial assistance to assist landowners in the establishment or enhancement of a habitat. So there's programs that if you don't really have the money, you can get help.
Yeah. A lot of that is we work with the NRCS, or Natural Resource Conservation Service, which is a USDA subset, that we can help write the plan, get you all the ideas that you need, tell you what you need to do, and get you set up and ready. You can apply at our NRCS office. We got one here in Mountain Home. So it's pretty easy process, and it takes a little bit of time to figure out if you're approved or not, because, I mean, government. Everything takes a little bit of time. Yeah. But if you're approved, they will cost share. Different practices have different percentages that they cost share to, and in different areas it's different percentages because, some things are higher priority than others.
Sure.
But that's getting too deep into the weeds on it. But it gives you some cost share payment to help offset the cost of it.
That's very good. Yeah, it's financial assistance to landowners to help improve their lands for high priority wildlife species. And there's people that inherit big chunks of land.
Yep.
And they don't really have the money to manage that. So it's nice that they can get help. Depending on how much help, it depends on when you put in your application for what you're doing. But there is some assistance out there for that.
Yeah, and I mean we see a lot of landowners go through that across the entire state because, like you said, it can be daunting to start managing property. And what's nice is you start working with us, we get you a plan, we help you form a timeline. They also would do the same service, but it helps put it into a timeline so it's like, okay, I don't have to do this all by the end of the year.
Right.
I have to do this month, this month, during this time of year. And it really just breaks it down and helps. And, the cost can get pretty high, especially if you're using contractors for this stuff, for a lot of the work, so it really helps offset that.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I like having you guys on the show. It's not just when you think Arkansas Game and Fish Commission, it's like somebody with a badge making sure you're hunting at the right time.
Yep.
No, this is all about the wildlife and managing our beautiful natural habitats for whatever purposes, whether it be your cattle on land or animals out in the woods, which you guys just had. We got about a couple minutes, but you just had a big squirrel hunt.
Yeah.
And I guess that went really well.
Yeah, our area up here, actually over in Yellville, we won both the youth categories statewide.
Yeah.
So the kids in this area did really well in it. But we put it on. It's kind of an all-three effort, trying to increase people hunting, retention, recruitment, and reactivation. So get people out there hunting. But it's also just a great way to get people more interested in wildlife too. Yeah. Because there's a lot of people that come to these things that they might not have, really paid any attention to it. It was just something to do that weekend, and they latched on and they went with it.
Right.
And this year, we've done this a couple times now, and this year it's starting to get some popularity. We actually had some people come from out of state to it, the furthest one being Illinois.
Oh, wow.
So it's starting to get pretty popular.
Yeah. So do they do that also to control the amount of squirrels?
That one, not so much, because realistically, we're not having any population level impact on them.
Oh,
just because there's so many of them.
30 seconds, but we have so many that you could just do it for the whole weekend and it's not really going to knock a dent in.
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
But
that's a lot of
it's
squirrels.
Just more just get people outside and get people into it.
Yeah, and when you have more than you need, then that's a good way of doing it.
Exactly. Wise management of the resource allows us to do things like that.
Yeah. Well, there's some that might have thought, well, you have to get out there shooting the squirrels. It's like, there's more than we need, so don't worry.
And they taste good.
And they taste good.
They do.
So, yeah. Squirrel gravy. Right.
You got it.
Yeah, squirrel gravy.
You got it. Squirrel gravy's way to go.
Thank you for coming on. It's
thank you
been
for
a
having
pleasure.
me.
Most definitely. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you back tomorrow with Friday Sports and This Week in Real Estate with Bob Zadora.